Out that Blake Lively's team, according to her attorney, is actually planning to file an amended complaint in their lawsuit against Justin Baldoni and others. According to her attorney, Michael Gottlieb, that is going to include new claims from Blake Lively, and they're going to be bringing this lawsuit against new defendants. Parties, of course, meeting for the first time in court today. It was about a 90-minute hearing.
The same tactic that they're doing over and over again of trying to manipulate the courts to get what they want.
Judge Lyman had already granted Blake Lively's legal team an extension until February 14th, Valentine's Day. Yet, that still wasn't enough for them. Despite testing the court's patience, they returned with another request. This time, pushing for an extension until March 5th. But Judge Lyman wasn't having it. They had already been given extra time, and now they wanted even more. Blake's team justified their request by claiming they planned to introduce additional witnesses to testify against Justin Baldoni. One of the names they were considering? Jenny Slate, Baldoni's former co-star in It Ends With Us, where she played his sister. Jenny had been one of Blake's most vocal supporters, previously dismissing the allegations against Lively as nothing more than baseless attacks. She had even made a public statement standing firmly by Blake's side. As Blake Lively's castmate and friend, I fully support her as she fights against those who have tried to tarnish her name. Blake is a leader, a loyal friend, and an unwavering source of support for so many of us. The truth about these attacks on her is both deeply disturbing and incredibly damaging, Jenny had declared. I admire her courage, and I stand with her. At first, it seemed like Jenny was all in, ready to back Blake's claims in court. But when the time came to testify, she stunned everyone, especially Blake. Jenny allegedly denied any direct involvement and distanced herself from the entire case. Even so, Blake's legal team wasn't ready to let go. They attempted to subpoena her, believing she might have had uncomfortable encounters with Baldoni that could strengthen their case. However, many suspected this was nothing more than a calculated move, a strategy to drag more women into the lawsuit to make Blake's claims seem even more credible. But when this plan didn't unfold as expected, Blake's team scrambled for a new approach. That's when they requested yet another extension. Judge Lyman wasn't buying it. When asked why they suddenly needed more time, Blake's lawyers launched into a long-winded, convoluted explanation, claiming they needed extra time to add new parties to the lawsuit. One of those parties? Jed Wallace and his company, Street Relations. According to Blake's team, Wallace had filed a separate 10-page lawsuit in a Texas federal court that supposedly overlapped with their case. They argued that dealing with his case required additional time. On the surface, their reasoning sounded somewhat logical. But there was one problem. Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, was prepared for this exact moment. He came in swinging, with receipts, literal, undeniable proof that Blake's team had refused to grant an extension when his team requested one back in January, while California was being ravaged by devastating wildfires. Baldoni's legal team had been dealing with a real crisis, yet Blake's team showed no mercy, denying them any extra time. Friedman didn't hesitate to call them out. Despite the Lively party's inexplicable refusal to grant an extension, when we requested one during the Los Angeles wildfires, we have no objection to their request now. But he didn't stop there. He made it clear. If Blake's team was granted more time, Baldoni's team would demand an equal extension, pushing their response deadline to April 15th. Baldoni's legal team, Wayfarer Legal, made their stance clear. They had no issue with Blake's team taking extra time, but if one side got it, so would the other. Fair is fair, right? But Friedman wasn't done. He had one more bombshell to drop, one that left the courtroom in stunned silence. With an icy, calculated tone, he exposed a massive misrepresentation from Blake's legal team. They had been blaming Jed Wallace, making it seem like his legal action was the reason they needed more time. But Friedman pulled out the receipts. And the truth? It was Blake who had filed legal action against Wallace first, on January 21st, a full 2 weeks before Wallace had even responded with his lawsuit. What the Lively party conveniently failed to mention, Friedman stated, is that the ongoing litigation in Texas was initiated by Ms. Lively herself. She filed legal action against Mr. Wallace in Texas State Court on January 21st, roughly 2 weeks before he responded with his federal lawsuit. The audacity! The courtroom fell silent. It was as if Blake's team had just been caught red-handed, trying to outmaneuver the system, and Friedman wasn't going to let them get away with it. Judge Lyman was not amused. He immediately denied their request for a month-long extension without hesitation. Instead, he granted them just 1 extra day to submit their amendment. The look of defeat on Blake's legal team was impossible to ignore. Shoulders slumped, heads down. They looked like a team running out of tricks. Lyman made it crystal clear. Blake's team had failed to present a valid reason for more time, and he was not about to let them drag this case out any longer. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse for Blake, they absolutely did. Remember how her legal team had desperately tried to slap Brian Friedman with a gag order, hoping to silence him? Well, that move spectacularly backfired. The court shut it down instantly. Nice try, but no. The ruling meant Friedman could keep speaking publicly about the case, exactly what Blake's team didn't want. Imagine trying to control the narrative, only for the court to hand a microphone to your most relentless adversary. But that wasn't all. Another massive blow was about to turn this already explosive case into an even bigger public spectacle. Over the weekend, Baldoni's legal team launched an entire website dedicated to the lawsuit, a move that left Blake's side scrambling. The site wasn't just a place for legal documents, it was a full-blown digital archive. It included the amended legal complaint, a meticulously compiled 168-page timeline, and most damning of all, never-before-seen text messages between Blake and Baldoni. Now the case wasn't just being fought in the courtroom, it was playing out in the court of public opinion. Blake's team, already drowning in legal setbacks, now had to deal with everyone dissecting the evidence. And it wasn't just Blake caught in the fire. Her husband, Ryan Reynolds, was being pulled deeper into the scandal. One alleged text from Reynolds to Baldoni showed just how enthusiastic he had once been about "It ends with us." Reportedly, he had texted, "This is going to be incredible. I happen to adore you, Justin." At the time, it seemed like an innocent, supportive message. But now, given the lawsuit, it carried a completely different weight. Blake's legal team, in a last-ditch effort, begged the court to take down the website. They argued that Baldoni's team shouldn't be allowed to publicly release evidence like this, but the court wasn't buying it. Their reasoning? Blake's team had already taken their case to the media, using major outlets like the New York Times to push their side of the story. If they had no problem engaging the public when it suited them, why should Baldoni be forced to stay silent now? At this point, Blake's legal team must be wondering, how much worse can this get? Every move they make backfires. Every attempt to regain control slips through their fingers. And with each loss, the reality of defeat inches closer. And let's not forget what's at stake. $400 million. That's not just a financial hit. That's career-shattering. Even for two Hollywood powerhouses like Blake and Ryan, losing that kind of money would be devastating. The question isn't just whether Blake will lose, it's how much longer her team can hold on before they completely crumble under the pressure. What do you think? Can Blake's team turn this around, or is this the beginning of the end? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates.